Hi guys, welcome back to ZZ Kid Zone, and today we'll be reading the book Raven Brings the Light. It's by Henry Vickers and Robert Budd. They did really beautiful illustrations on back then. They have had this story allowed to be passed on from generations to generations. They did very beautiful designs in the book, and today we'll be reading it. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so on the side here it says, in the time when darkness covered the land, a boy named Wedget is born who descended to bring the light. With the gift of raven skin allows him to fly as well as transform. Wedget turns into a bird and journeys from Haida Gawai into sky. There he finds the chief of heavens, who keeps the daylight ball. Will clever Wedget find a way to trick the chief and escape with the daylight ball back down to earth? Vividly portrayed through the art of Henry Vickers, Wedget's story has been passed on down generations. The tale has been traced back at least 3,000 years by archaeologists who have found images of Wedget's journey in petroglyphs on Nass and Skeena rivers. This version of story originates from one told of the author by Chester Baltron, chief of Raven from village Kitkatla around 1975. Okay, let's get to the actual book. Many years ago, the world lived in darkness. In this darkness, a young couple on Gawai Hanas became parents to a baby boy. It did not take long to realize something was wrong. Something was very different and very special about their son. They called him Wedget. Wedget means big. Get means man. No, we means big and get means man. Wedget means big man. The boy got named Wedget because he was growing so fast that it frightened the mother and father. Then they brought him to the old people and said, "Something is wrong with our child, Wedget. We don't know what's wrong. He's just a baby and yet he's already walking. How can that be possible?" The elders took a look at the child and they nodded their heads and smiled. They told the parents, "For many years we have told the child was coming to be with us. We will get all the chiefs together and you'll learn what this child will be." And so the chiefs got together to meet with this couple. They brought a big treasure chest made of cedar known as Golanich. The chiefs told the parents, "Our leaders have known for generations that one day a boy would come to this place, a boy who would change the whole world. This child may have been born to you, but he belongs to everyone. Right now we live in darkness. This boy is going to bring the light. We have things passed down from generation to generation in this Golinch to give this boy." Out of the box they pulled a magic raven skin made from the feathers and beak of the claws of a real raven, but much more large than any normal raven. They explained, "When Wedget grows big enough, he can put on this raven skin. When he wears it, he will be able to fly. He will also be able to shapeshift himself into anything he wants." The chiefs continued, "Our people have been told that one day Wedget was going to leave the island. He's going to fly over the big waters and get a daylight ball from the chief of the heavens and bring it back to us. They reached out the box and pulled a little skin pouch. They opened it up and it was full of little rocks. When Wedget flies over the big waters, he will get tired. He should take one of these rocks, drop it in the big ocean. Little rocks will change into an island where he can land and rest. After Wedget passes over the water, he will come to a big island where there's he'll come to a big land where there's no islands. The chiefs reach into a box and pull out another little skin pouch. They open the pouch carefully and reveal red fish eggs. After closing it, they put it back in the box and continued. When we get to big land, there will be waters running off the land into salt water. When he gets to the place where the waters meet, he will take these eggs, put them in the moving water, and he is to say, "Let all these rivers bring forth an abundance of fish for my people." The chief took one more bag, and the bag was a variety of berry and tree seeds. When Wedgie got to the big land, he is to spread the seeds all over the land, and these seeds were going to bring all kinds of trees and foods to our people. Wedget continued to grow, and the time soon came when he was ready to receive his gifts. As he slipped on the raven skin for the first time, his heart was filled with courage. The chief had prepared him as well as they could. With great excitement, he tucked the cedar box underneath him and took flight. Before long, however, Wedget began to lose his way in the darkness. He became so tired of flying back and forth, he was forced to drop as many rocks in order to rest. Today, these many islands along the west coast, these are the rocks Wedget dropped in the water. Wedget finally arrived at the big island, and he saw a mighty river coming down. The river is known today as Sakina, but in the old times it was called Kishin. And so the people were to live around it are called the Gitkishin, which means people of Kishin. As Wedget flew northward over the land, he remembered to drop fish eggs into the river and spread seeds all over the land. After Wedget flew over Kishin, he came to Lissims, known today as the Nass River. The chiefs had told Wedget this river would rise very quickly into the mountains. Up there, the river turned into a creek, which turned into a small rivulet before it came to the place where the dews from the clouds fell on the mountains. When Wedget reached this place, he was told to look straight up in the sky where he see a little wee light. Way up there, that was where he was going to go. As he flew higher and discovered the pinpoint of light was actually from a big hole in the sky, the hole of heaven. Up there was light. Upon entering the hole, Wedget felt afraid because everything was strange and bright. He had lived all his life in darkness and did not know what light was. It hurt his eyes, but exciting to see everything so clearly. He could see a village in the distance with smoke coming from the house. He could see the enormous lounge house where Chief of the Heavens kept the daylight ball. The chief kept the daylight ball in a bent box. Wedget knew he must go to the chief and ask for the daylight ball so he could take it back, light to the world. He took off his raven skin, left it beside the hole, and he started walking up to Chief of Heaven's house. There were two men standing at the door. They stopped him. Wedget said, "My name is Wedget. I came for the darkness down below. All my people live in darkness. I have come to the Chief of Heaven because of the daylight ball, and I must bring it back to my people down below." So they let him in. Widget walked up to the chief of heavens and he explained who he was and where he came from. The difficulty of his people living all their lives in darkness. He told the chief of the heavens about everything he had done on his journey. Now, getting the daylight ball was the last task. The chief of heaven looked at Widget and said, "You cannot have the daylight ball." Widget thought to himself, "This isn't supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get the daylight ball and bring it up to my people. What am I going to do now?" Widget left the roundhouse and began to walk back to the hole. All he wanted was to put his raven skin back and leave because he felt defeated. But then he remembered he had some tricks. He saw a cedar tree by the creek, not far from the house. He put on the raven skin and flew up to the branches. Widget sat patiently and he looked around watching everything. Eventually, a beautiful young woman walked out the chief's heaven roundhouse. She was the chief's daughter. She came down to the creek carrying a waterproof cedar box. It was a really hot day and she was getting water for the house. She dipped a little ladle of water and began to fill the box. After a few dips, she looked around, thought to herself, "Is there anyone around? I know my father said I'm not supposed to drink water until it's blessed, but I'm so thirsty." And she took a sip. Once again, she looked around to make sure no one was there. No one was seen, and make sure no one was seen. Then she took another box. Then she took the box back to the lounge house. But Widget was watching. "Ah, she's tricky one. She just like the kids back at home, doing what they're not supposed to when nobody's watching. Now I know how I'm going to get the chief's daylight ball." The next time the young woman came, Widget flew up to the creek, took his raven skin off. Underneath some bushes, he grabbed a leaf, studied it, and then he changed himself into a leaf and floated down the river as a young woman, this one woman's dipper. The young woman spotted the leaf in her dipper and threw it back in the water before drinking. Widget, the little leaf, floated away, thinking, "Oh, that didn't work. I had to figure out a better way." He flew into a fir tree and began thinking. Widget noticed the branch of the tree did not have any leaves. Instead, the fir tree had very soft, tiny little needles. So along came Widget, a tiny needle floating down the river. He floated right into the young woman's dipper. Once she looked around, the woman slipped, swallowing Widget whole. Soon after, the chief's daughter gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Never suspected it was really a trickery Widget. The chief of the heavens loved his new grandson. He did everything he could to make him happy. The baby would scream, "Wah!" while pointing at the box that contained the daylight ball. Grandpa would lovingly take down the box, open the lid, and give the baby daylight ball to play with. Widget was happily playing around with the daylight ball at Grandpa's house. As he would play, he would get an inch closer way to the door, but Grandpa would say, "That's enough, grandson." Then the Grandpa would take the daylight ball, put it back in the box. This happened every day. Widget would cry until he got that ball and he would play with it. After a while, Grandpa got so used to playing with him in the daylight ball, he just stopped watching him for one day. While Widget was playing in front of the door, he took the daylight ball, ran as fast as he can, didn't even look back. He raced straight to the hole in the sky. Upon arriving, he put the daylight ball in the box, put the lid on, and he quickly flipped the raven skin on, and whoosh, he landed back on the banks of the Sims. Widget was tired and hungry. As Widget's belly rumbled, he noticed some frog spirits fishing in the dark. They had already caught lots of fish. He called them, "Oh, my brothers, I would like a fish. I'm so hungry. I've been working really hard." The frog spirit said, "Beat it, Widget. Leave us alone. Get your own fish." Widget thought, "That's not very nice of them. I put these fish in the river." So he tried again. "My brothers, you're a really good fisherman. I would like one fish." The frogs taunted, "Beat it, Widget. Leave us alone. Get your own fish. We're busy here. Can't you see?" Wedgie began to get angry. He said the third time, "My brother, I put those fish in the river. You shouldn't be so greedy. Just give me one fish, all I want." The frogs answered, "Leave us alone. Wedgie, beat it. We're tired of you asking us." Wedgie offered the frog a last chance. "All right, my brothers. I want my fish. I'm hungry. I put those fish in the river. You can get lots of fish. If you don't give me one fish, I'm going to open this box and let a big bright light, and you will disappear. You will never be able to fish again. I just want one fish." The frog replied, "Beat it, Wedgie. Beat it, Wedgie. You liar. We know how tricky you are." Upon hearing these words, Wedgie took the top of the box off. Whoosh! The sun flew up into the sky, where it brought light to the whole world. The world cast off its darkness. The beautiful colors came, and it was hot. A wind started to blow. It came down to the rivers and ocean. The frogs were blown to the mouth of the listeners, where they turned into stone. The people of the West Coast were known as the salmon people. Wedge's efforts brought all different kinds of salmon to the waters and our tables. Our people have been so able to fish and pick berries for thousands of years now. The fairy wheat that grows on the mountainsides, the first vegetables that comes to our people each spring. Before salmon berries come, their little shoots grow every year, and they are very softly. We peel the skin off them and eat the shoots. We eat strawberries and blueberries, blackberries, and so many different kind of others. All these foods came from the seeds that we all spread over the world. Wedget, they grew from the heat of the sun. Clever Wedget put in the sky. And this story in this book belongs to people of Northwest Coast. It has been passed from generation to generation for thousands of years. It's my great joy to share this with you. Told by me, Chester Bolden, chief of the Ravens from the village Kiskatla, around 1975, Roy Henry Vickers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and bye.